Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs! Duuz-Diz-Din back again, with more of the Pokemon Adventures manga, The Sun and Moon arc, where previously 6 months have passed since Sun, Moon, Lunala, and Solgaleo were pulled into Ultra Space by the being known as Necrozma. In that time, a horde of Ultra Beasts have been unleashed upon Alola that have come under the control of Lusamine. Wick has taken a group of Aether Foundation employees who are still believers in the more altruistic goals and are trying to do some good, while Fava has taken the more duplicitous end of the Aether Foundation and has gone to war with Wick. As we catch back up with Gladian and Lily, we find out that Annabelle had also ventured into Ultra Space. The trial captains and kahunas have started training to take on the Ultra Beast. Meanwhile, we catch back up with Sun and Moon, lost in the ultra deep sea, and no longer with Lunala. We also see that the Zygarde cells that Sun collected are able to assume the 10% form of Zygarde, the dog form, now under Sun's command. Moon's Rowlet has also evolved into Dartrick. They have to change their clothes because they deteriorate over time, but they don't grow hungry. They gotta take the good with the bad. It's later that they encounter Lunala again, being ridden by 2 members of the Ultra Recon Squad, Duuz and Zosie. Duuz tells them that they're working in conjunction with the Aether Foundation. This is in an effort to make Pokeballs that can capture the Ultra Beast, and thus they have no intention of helping Sun and Moon. That is, until Lunala shows a deep bond with the 2 children. So Dulce stays behind, while Zosie goes with Sun and Moon on Lunala to the Ultra Megapolis, the home of the Ultra Recon Squad. This is a land that has had their light stolen by Necrozma, and thus the people here have evolved with a bluish skin and different colored hair, even more different colored than most anime protagonists. But Ultra Beasts continue to try to attack the current source of light within the Ultra Megapolis. More currently, Stakataka, the Ultra Beast that goes on the rampage. Another member of the Ultra Recon Squad, Soliera, wishes to test Sun and Moon's capability and ask them to battle Stakataka to see if they're worth joining hands with, while Lusamine gets ready to set off into Ultra Space herself, now with Ultra Beast Balls created by Colress, as she's looking to capture Necrozma for herself, who has bonded with Solgaleo. What does this all mean? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, it's Chapter 29, Darkness, the Mysterious Claws of Necrozma. We pick up after Sun came up with a plan to take out Stakataka, with Moon being asked to aim at his backpack and release all of the Zygarde cells that are sent raining down all across Stakataka. Well, is this to confuse it, maybe? Soliana questions, is that a Pokemon too? Zosie seems confused as well, saying, I don't know. When those were put together, they made a 4-legged Pokemon, right, Moon? Moon explains, they're Zygarde cells. Individually, they have no sentience, and they don't attack on their it's Rotom who says, individually they have no sentience, and they don't attack on their own. Soliana questions, how are those things going to be of any use? The Stakataka starts to wobble and shake. Zosie questions, huh? The Stakataka's kind of wobbling. Moon tells Lunala, now's our chance, Lunala. And Lunala strikes at the arm holding Sun. Sun is released, and he says, you two are lifesavers, Lunala, miss. This Stakataka is an Ultra Beast made up of a bunch of brick things, just like the cells. Each one has an eye, and they're always looking around. They don't have any blind spots. That must be why it kept moving you into Moon says, that must be why they kept moving you into positions that made it hard for Lunala to attack. Even if the cells couldn't attack, they could stick to the eyes and keep them from opening. So you realize that if you block Stakataka's view, we'd have a better chance of winning. Soliana says, unbelievable. We managed to pick out an Ultra Beast's quirks and escape unharmed during his first battle against it. Zosie says, that's not all. She begins to tear up, saying, they were able to pull it off with their Pokemon and the incarnation of the moon because they trust and understand each other. They're the perfect combination. Zosie says, I think that sentiment might be a little too emotional. Though it's easy to see that their bond is what made them powerful. Just look at the upsurge in the aura surrounding them. Aura? Interesting. Oh, also I forgot. We got Lunala! Oh, the aura of Lunala rises up towards the top of the tower, where Solgaleo, also known now bonded as Dusk-Mane Necrozma, seems to sense this, and its attention is drawn towards the group. Seeing Lunala, Necrozma bounds off of the tower towards them, landing next to Lunala, much to the shock of the others. Oh, but it's only Solgaleo. Sun and Moon race over, saying, Solgaleo, it was here? What happened? Soliana says, it's here. He and Zosie look to the sky, and Sun and Moon do the same. Oh, Jesus. That is absolutely terrifying to look up and see, as we see my boy Necrozma descending from on high, like an angel of death. Sun and Moon, your angel of death await. We cut over to the pony altar then. Where we see Lusamine nearing the Ultra portal, only for a figure to exit. Captain Fico, riding atop of a Naganadel? Naganadel? Is that the name? Naganadel? I think that's it. They land before Lusamine, who says, I've been waiting for you, Captain Fico. Fico dismounts, saying, my apologies. Due to some unexpected circumstances, I was unable to ride Lunala here. I rushed to ask this fellow for assistance and ended up running late. Lusamine asks, is this an Ultra Beast as well? Fico says, indeed. His name is Naganadel. These Ultra Beasts are especially friendly with us. Lusamine says, it's beautiful. And she begins to approach, and it starts a Naganadel a little bit. As Naganadel readies itself, Fico says, oh, you mustn't approach it so carelessly. The venom from those 3 needles will get on you. Lusamine examines it, saying, venom? Is it a poison type? Fico says, I'm not sure. Oh, suddenly out of nowhere, Lusamine unleashes her Pokémon. Beware, Milotic, Lopunny, Clefable, and I think I got most of those right. Yeah, Beware, Clefable, Lilligant, Lopunny, Milotic. I think that's it. I don't think there's any of my faves amongst these. They surround Naganadel with Fico question, what are you doing? But Lusamine just flashes him a smile, saying, allow me to use the Beast Balls to demonstrate how to capture Ultra Beast. First, you battle the Ultra Beast and weaken it a bit. However, you mustn't weaken it so much that it faints. All of her Pokemon start just beating up on Naganadel. Naganadel then hits Clefable with its poison, but Beware seems to just fight through the poison, as Lusamine says, of course the beast will fight back. So have your Pokemon in your party who will be able to battle until it's weak. Observe the beast and how it battles, and determine which part would be best to throw the ball at. This spot is different from ordinary weak points. You can think of it as a target. Then, once you feel the beast looks weak enough, aim for the target and throw the ball. He throws it with grace, and Naganadel enters the ball. Fico says, amazing. Lusamine says, it's not over yet. And so after some shaking, the beast is captured. Lusamine picks up the ball, saying, the capture is now complete. This Ultra Beast is mine. Fico says, I see. And then he pauses for a moment and says, wait, this is not good. Without Naganadel, I won't be able to return to the Ultra Megapolis. I won't be able to fulfill my duty to save the Blinding One and restore light to Ultra Space. Lusamine says, I know. I captured Naganadel for that purpose. Now that I've captured it, it will do as I say. She releases Naganadel, saying, returning to the Ultra Megapolis will be a breeze. I'll bring you back along with the Beast Balls. Fico says, goodness me. She caresses Naganadel, saying, my precious child, Before we go, let's stop by Naganadal's habitat. You'll take me there, won't you? Faiko questions, may I ask why? As Lusamine mounts Naganadal, she says, of course. We must go there if we are to save the Blinding One. Meanwhile, back at the Ultra Megapolis, Sun and Moon are thrown to the ground as they gaze upon the figure of Necrozma that... And this thing looks creepy. I think that's why I gotta love it. It is freaky looking. Sun says, what is that? Stupid freaking thing. It's Necrozma. So Liana says, it's the Blinding One. The Sun gets up. He says, this is... Moon examines it and says, those black claws. They're the ones that took Solgaleo from Pony Altar 6 months ago. Sun says, that's right. When Annabelle saw them, she said that name, the Blinding One. Moon says, the power that this world's scientists tried to gain, but lost instead. Was it the Blinding One's power? Soliana says, I keep saying Soliana, Soliera. Soliera says, yes, the Blinding One, formerly it is known as Necrozma. Moon says, was it Necrozma? Rotom is shocked, saying, that's that weird word that Lightning mentioned in Lush Jungle. It was that thing's name. Long ago, the blind... Oh, wait. So Liera says, long ago, the Blinding One provided light to more than just this city. It gave off enough light to illuminate all of Ultraspace. It was bright enough to reach the other side of Ultraspace, your world. Our ancestors who sought to grasp that great power and use it freely, they tried to control the Blinding One, but the Blinding One resisted, and they battled. During that battle, the Blinding One lost part of its body. If the Blinding One tries to heal its wounds, the light energy would leak out from the damaged part of its body. That's why the Blinding One consumed all of the light in Ultraspace. That is how the light disappeared from this world. Moon says, and even after that, Necrozma's wounds didn't heal? Soliera nods, saying, our ancestors built Megalode Tower and managed to gain control of the Blinding One with the help of the artificial light. Then it became clear that in order to heal its wounds, the Blinding One would have to fuse with the incarnations of the Sun and Moon and absorb their light energy. However, to the incarnations, the Blinding One was only someone threatening to take their energy. By then, the two of them had already disappeared. And Moon says they came to Alola. That became the legend of the Sun and Moon. Soliera says, through the Aether Foundation, we have become able to freely visit and return from Alola. And the Blinding One finally fused with the incarnation of the Sun. However, that energy still isn't enough. Sun notes, so this thing's here to steal Lunala's power, huh? This is serious. If Lunala ends up like Solgaleo, you're not going to be able to go back to Alola. Lunala, beat that thing before it beats you. So Lunala attacks, but Necrozma manages to dodge. Necrozma goes on the attack, hitting Lunala with a blast. Necrozma then manages to hit Lunala pretty hard, throwing it to the ground, much to the shock of Sun and Moon. Necrozma then grabs Lunala by the face. Jeez. Sun says, hey, make it stop. Soliera says, that's a lot easier said than done. Josie says, we're not the ones making it do that, so we can't stop it. Soliera says, and if the Blinding One regains its original power, for you two it'll be... Sun says, miss, we've got to use our team-ups to stop it. Moon says, right. So they bring out all of their Pokemon. Torracat, Alolan Muck. Oh, hey! Moon's Grimer evolved. Wishy-Washy, Meowth, I always forget this one. Marini, Crabominable, Mimikyu, and Dartrix. There you go. I think that's all of them. All go in on Necrozma and are promptly blasted back, much to the shock of Sun and Moon. A voice calls out, I won't let you interfere, as they look up to see Lusamine riding on the back of, I've already forgotten its name, Neganadal, with several other Aether Foundation employees riding on their own Neganadal. Faiko says, Zosi, Soliera, I brought them. Zosi hears, Captain Faiko. Faiko then says, this is Miss Lusamine, the president of the Aether Foundation. She's here to help save the Blinding One. So are the volunteers who came here before. The Sun is shocked, saying, the Aether Foundation's president? So she's the lady who told Father to take my great-grand's island. That's not all. She even screwed us over along with Lunala. The moon grabs him saying, calm down, courier. Lusamine says, take? What did I ever take from you? I'm the one who was stolen from. I'm the one who lost everything. That's why I won't rely on anyone anymore. I decided I'll become beautiful and strong all on my own. Oh, jeez. Oh, Lusamine. She launches up an Ultra Beast Ball, bringing out a Nihilego. Oh, God. Jesus, this woman. Like, I have a weird amount of sympathy for this woman. Again, I don't forgive her actions. What she did to her children is terrible. But man, she is just going through a lot of grief, and she unfortunately has a lot of power to act on that grief in very, very messed up ways. As she brings out Nihilego and it ascends towards her, her eyes fill with tears as Lusamine says, come here, my beloved child. Become one with me. Oh, God. And the Nihilego. Ugh. God, that's some body horror stuff. Oh, my God. I swear to God, this series really does lean into how horrifying some of this is. Sun and Moon watching horror as Nihilego just consumes Lusamine. Like, there's no good way to say it. And it does look just horrifying. Like something out of friggin' Junji Ito for a second there. Oh, God. Alright, now we pick up with Madness. Mother Lusamine, Chapter 30. And we get to see a character who I wasn't sure how she was going to get involved in this chapter. Well, in this story. I was kind of looking forward to her. We see Mina, the island captain of Pony Island, as she's roaming around Pony Island with her Rabombi. There you go, Rabombi. And she looks around saying, huh? I came back because I got a message saying that all the captains were supposed to meet up, but nobody's here. She looks at her phone saying, oh, the meeting wasn't on Pony Island. It said as it was on Executor Island. No wonder nobody's here. He steps on something, and it says, oof. It's your boy Guzma. Ain't looking that great, though. Oof. Really not looking that great. Mina says, oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. Huh? Guzma? What's wrong? Are you okay? She leans down, and he barely gets up. Say, please, save her. Suddenly, Wick is here, saying, how did you get to Pony Island, Mina? Mina says, well, I came here with Mantine, sir. Right, what about all the Ultra Beasts? Wick says, and you didn't get attacked by any Ultra Beasts? Mina says, no, I got attacked by a Tentacruel and Sharpedo, though. Of course she did. That's why I love Mina. Like, I don't know, man. Stuff just kind of happens different. Suddenly the employee comes up saying, Miss Wick. Wick says, how did it go? The employee says, the Ultra Beasts aren't here, and neither is the president. Wick says, what happened? For now, we need to treat Guzma's injuries. Let's bring him to the front line camp on Executor Island. So they head off, and we cut over to Executor Island, where a voice says, okay, the gang's all here. Oh, I guess that's Nana is saying, hey, the gang's all here. Mina shows up, munching on some sushi, saying, long time no see, guys. Nana says, starting today, Captain Mina of Pony Island will be joining you in training. Look forward to it. Acerola says, when did we send that message again? Nana says, 6 months ago. Oh my God. Mina, come on. Elima says, as laid back as ever, I see. Mal says, that's not a good thing. Wait, where's Hala? Nana says, he couldn't come because of an emergency. I'm in charge for today, so expect a challenge. Huh. You know, I didn't actually expect to actually see the captains, honestly, during this last little part. Oh, he's probably checking on Guzma. Hala's checking on Guzma. Acerola says, can you handle that? Nana says, hey, I'm technically a kahuna. Technically. While Sophocles says, we know you're strong, but leadership is a different story. Elima says, as they say, not every great trainer can become a great coach. Nana says, that's not very nice. Well, Yahweh just shouts, is my Z-Ring finished yet? Hey, it's been 6 months. How does your Z-Ring not finished, man? While Sophocles says, like I told you before, Olivia's still working on it. We then cut over to the first aid tent, where a very weak Guzma tells the others, it was pitch dark, but that didn't matter. Nothing was scary. Actually, I hadn't felt that relaxed in ages. Before I knew it, I was thrown out back to Pony Island. I was released from that Ultra Beast. What awaited me was a feeling of helplessness. I used to hate Alola for beating me down. I wanted to destroy it. Then, I didn't feel a thing. Couldn't even move my own body. All I knew was that the Ultra Beast that brought me back to Pony Island, he captured it. You see Lusamine just looking over Guzma. Something so unnerving about her sometimes. Guzma recounts she wanted to know what it was like to be taken in by an Ultra Beast. So I said that when I was with it, I wanted to be acknowledged, to be taken seriously, or to win. None of that mattered. It just felt good. Oh my. It's freaking, it's narcotics. God, from that, see, that makes it even worse. She just wanted an escape. Like, that's the thing about Lusamine. She does all these messed up things, just acting on these terrible impulses to try to make herself feel better. She just does whatever she pops into her mind at the moment, no matter how cruel or mean or wrong it is, because she just wants to feel better about what happened and how much she misses her husband. But, you know, she does it because that's not how you get over a loss. But she's still not willing to deal with that situation. So now she's just looking for a friggin' escape, which just makes the situation even friggin' sadder. Like, I just can't get past that. It's just such a depressing story plot point. It just gets me every time. Oh God. You see Nihilego just latching onto Lusamine. As Guzma explains, the Ultra Beast didn't even look at. It just took her in. But I didn't feel frustrated or jealous. Not even that much desire was left in. Over and over again, she fused with the Ultra Beast. Oh God. It's so friggin' depressing. But eventually it got weird. The Ultra Beast she fused with changed form. It was like they melted and blended with each other. See, that's actually a better explanation for what happens there. Because that's the thing about Nihilego. They have a tendency to latch on to people and just kind of puppet them a little bit. But the idea of someone just doing it over and over again to escape this just toxic mentality, it's so friggin'... It gives me this weird feeling in my skin. I really don't know how to explain it. Maybe I'm overreacting to this. I don't know. It's just something about this whole situation just feels nasty. Like this woman needs help. Like, I think that's it. Because it's like, in my mind, I just see her as a mentally unstable person who just friggin' needs help. It might be controversial to say this, but it's Kanye West. Like, Kanye does not need to just be indulged and allowed to just keep doing whatever he wants. The man has a problem. He has issues. He's suffering from something that just made his mind go out the door, and people just keep letting him do whatever he wants. The dude needs to be Baker Act. He needs help, professional help. There's something wrong here, and it has gone off the rails, and we need someone to just intervene and do something. But when you're the head of something and you have so much control, nobody wants to step in, because sometimes that could be seen as, oh, you're trying to take advantage, or you're trying to do this. And let's face it, Saba will try to take advantage. But it's like, it just sucks how stuff like this can happen. When people of power just go through something and they don't get the help they need from it, and that power just starts to go off the rails, it becomes a friggin' just a wreck of epic proportions that slowly just spirals more and more and more and more out of control. And it's just really, really depressing to watch. Because it's like, how do you fix this? Like, it just keeps getting worse before it could possibly get better. And I know I shouldn't bring real world stuff into this, but like, no, there's stuff like this that actually happens. Not with the friggin' invaders from another dimension, but close enough. It just, it makes me feel icky. Guzma says, wouldn't even be possible to go back to being human after that point. Lily is listening to this outside the tent and says, shouldn't we hurry up and save her? Or, no, is it Guzma saying, shouldn't we hurry up and save her? And you can tell that Lily is worried. You know, despite everything that happened with her mother. Like, that's the thing. Lily remembers a point where her mother wasn't like this. And I think that's the biggest defining thing. You know, it's one thing, like when you have a situation like with Endeavor from My Hero Academia, like this guy was a piece of crap for most of his kids' life. Despite him turning a corner, it makes sense that some of his kids don't forgive him. They're just like, nah, we remember what you did. And like his oldest son is like, I don't want any part of you, old man. Like, I get it. You turned over a new leaf. Yeah, I'm having a kid. Don't want you in his life. I don't want you in my family's life. I might never want to see you again still. You did a lot of good. It doesn't absolve that. I'm out. Like, that makes sense. That's fair enough. But with this situation, you know, even though Gladian has kind of written off his mother to a certain extent, Lily still has those fond memories. And she still wants to reach out that hand to get that part of Lusamine that was still good back. And I understand that. Like, at the same time, it's like, look, if this keeps going forward, which, look, Lusamine's at the end of the spiral. Like, she's so far off the deep end that it's like, there ain't really much further you can go after this, outside of, like, pretty much just dying from what she endures here. Like, she is, and it's just, it's such a, like, being on the worst kind of drug at this point. It feels wrong. It feels wrong. And Lily's just like, I know that part of her is still there. And like, what happens if we can't get that back? I think some part of Lily, despite her fear and apprehension, she still wants that good mother back. It's almost too late. We cut back to the Ultra Megapolis, where Lusamine is being assimilated by Nihilego. The employees say, President Lusamine, President! Faka says, this is terrible. The Nihilego has taken over Miss Lusamine's body. Moon says, Nihilego? Soliera says, it looks like saving the blinding one may have to wait. But the now fused Lusamine says, you don't need to worry, as she is now assimilated with Nihilego. This is the most wildly body horror thing that Pokemon has ever actually done. It's like, you know what? This is the kind of thing I'd expect from the Pokemon Adventures manga. The fact that it came from the game actually kind of throws me off to this day. Because it's like, we've never done it since. We've never done it before. And yet here it is. And it still kind of just tweaks me out a little bit. Like, whoa, that is weird. I will always say, though, that the game, at least the original game, didn't really go far enough with this. And the fact that other games, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, don't even have this happening, it's just like, you know what? I'm kind of glad that it doesn't happen, but at the same time, I'm not happy that it doesn't happen, because it's like, no, it is the end of the spiral, like I said before. It is just Lusamine just losing so much of herself in this spiral of depression and sadness and escapism and just wanting to not feel anymore. And it's just like, yeah, look, I get it. Those are real feelings. Sometimes it's hard to pull yourself back out of that spiral. That's why you need a support system in place to help you. But when that support system is what you lost in the first place, it's just kind of like, it's very interesting. It's a great plot point, and it's really sad. It's just really sad. Okay, I really gotta start tweaking out about this. As the now fused Lusamine looms over everyone, Pika says, what is happening here? When the people from the native place where these things come from, or at least you see them more often, are just like, what's that? Like, that's how you know something has gone wrong. Soliera says, I've never seen this happen before. Lusamine laughs. Nihilego is an ultra beast that feeds off of humans and Pokemon. It particularly likes those who feel intense worry or anxiety. Those it feeds on are attacked with a strong venom. That venom turns their negative emotions into happiness and pleasure. It's a narcotic. Like that's a narcotic, sweetie. Like that's drugs. That's what drugs do to you. Like this is substance abuse. Like I'm half joking, but no, this is literally just a metaphor for drugs. Under ordinary circumstances, the victim would become dependent on Nihilego's venom. Dependency, like no, like you're literally like the manga ain't even beating around the bush with what this is. But because I captured this Nihilego, our relationship became mutualistic. Yeah, that's what you say, sweetie. That right up until you end up strung out in a back alley somewhere, or I don't know, fusing metal to your teeth permanently. Friggin' Kanye. I am neither human nor ultra beast. And with a deranged look in her eyes, she says, I am all ultra beast's dearly beloved mother, Lusamine. Fika says, oh, wow. Moon says, Mother? That's right. The Aether Foundation's president, Lusamine, she's... Sun says, she's the Gladian and Lily's old lady. Like, son. But suddenly, a blinding light bursts forth from the back of Necrozma as it looms over Lunala. Sun and Moon call out for Lunala. Okay, I couldn't make out who that was because of the light. Name escapes me. I'm trying here, man. I'm really trying. Zosie says, it's so bright. Well, Fika says, oh no, both of you, put on your shade glass goggles. Soliera says, the blinding one, it's regained its old form. And the light starts to dim a little bit. Soliera says, the light is gathering in one spot. Lucy says, why? As the claws of Necrozma stretch out around Sun and Moon. Necrozma has assimilated, there's a lot of that going on here, with Lunala, becoming Dawn Wings Necrozma. Soliera says, so even after absorbing Lunala, it still doesn't have enough power. She then looks to Sun and Moon, saying, what if? Well, she thinks to herself, what if? Meanwhile, Lusamine says, begin the Necrozma capture operation. Attack! She commands her employees on the back of their, still not remembering the name, Neganadal. There you go, Neganadal. I don't think I'm gonna ever actually remember that name. The horde of Neganadal attack, but Necrozma manages to fend off their poison. Fika says, Miss Lusamine, what are you doing? Lusamine turns with that sinister smile, saying, there is no need for concern. If I capture Necrozma, we'll be able to do anything. Fika says, that was not part of our agreement. What we asked you was for the technology needed for capture. None of you have ever captured or raised an Ultra Beast. If I only gave you the technology, what would you do if it became uncontrollable again? Fika grits his teeth as Lusamine just seems to ignore him. She says, surrender everything to me. I am your mother, Lusamine, as she launches an Ultra Beast ball at Necrozma. But I can't tell if it swats it away or if it just bounces off. Yeah, I guess it swats it away. I guess she launched several Ultra Beast balls. Soliera begins picking up the Ultra Beast balls and tells Sun and Moon, what are you doing? Are you just going to stand there and let Lunala get taken away? Sun, angry, says, what? While Moon, also nonplussed, says, we're not strong enough to battle that many Ultra Beasts. We were able to fight with Lunala on our side, but now that it's been taken in by Necrozma, whether it's able to hear us or not isn't clear. But Soliera says, could you fight against the Neganadal with other Ultra Beasts? How about using a Stakataka? And she motions over to the still motionless and stunned Stakataka, and Sun and Moon look at each other like, huh. Soliera tosses Ultra Balls over to the two of them, saying, you can capture Ultra Beasts with these balls, correct? Moon questions, why? Soliera says, I think you already know. Moon then eyes Lusamine, saying, trusting Miss Lusamine with the blinding one would be dangerous. Sun winds up his arm saying, I don't really get it, but miss, you're telling me to capture an Ultra Beast, so I'll do it. Moon says, do it, courier. Sun says, all right, take that. He tosses the Ultra Beast ball. Stack Attack goes in. The Zygarde cells fall off. Sun reabsorbs all the Zygarde cells, brings out Stack Attack, saying, now, let's get battling. Oh, okay, it's bowing, I guess. And Sun says, what? Why are you bowing all of a sudden? He climbs on top of it, saying, man, you're so polite. A ray of light and darkness, all right? I'll call you Lay. The translation of that is lost on me. Let's see. The English translation calls it drachma, which, is that Russian currency? I don't remember. Let me know in the comments where the drachma comes from. Moon says it's probably just can't stand after taking damage from Lunala's attack. Let's heal it first. The Sun says, all right, drachma, let's stop Gladian's mom. Just stop Gladian's mom. Stack Attacker rams into Lusamine, and Lusamine cries out in pain as Moon says, wait, courier, Miss Lusamine will get hurt too. Sun is kind of worried, says, then what do you want me to do? Lusamine, with tears in her eyes, says, I can't believe you'd lay a hand on your mother. Oh man, this woman. It's also kind of like dealing with someone with dementia. He then brings out the whole swarm of Ultra Beasts that she has, which includes Guzzlord, the Lord of the Guzz. And she says, I'll have to teach you some manners. We then cut over to Ula Ula Island, Route 16, Aether Base, where Samson Oak says, so it's finally finished. This is the reassembly unit. I don't specialize in machines, but you can use this assembly to separate Zygarde cells, huh? Dexio and Cena are there. Dexio saying, yes, but we have 60 cells. But since we have no core, we can't assemble anything. Sun gave us a report that he found a slightly different one at Toad Town 6 months ago. So we know that he has a core and over 30 cells. That is Samson Oak, right? Yeah, Samson Oak says, in Kalos, your home region, Zygarde appeared as a single Pokemon, didn't it? And Dexio explained, saying Zygarde appeared in front of the legendary Pokemon Xerneas and Yveltal. Once things were settled, it left for Alola. Zygarde guards the enormous amount of energy given off by Pokemon. It most likely came here after noticing the cracks in the sky, as well as the Ultra Beast. Zygarde was captured by a powerful individual from Kalos, and it was used in order to prevent similar events from occurring again. We developed the reassembly unit in order to control Zygarde's power, but we come to the realization that the Zygarde from Kalos was Zygarde in its 50% form. Samson says 50%, so does that mean it's made of one core and 49 cells? Dexio holds out a picture of the 10% form, saying, right, and at 10%, with 9 cells, it could also take on this 4-legged form. Samson says, hold on. So it's confirmed that there are 99 cells in Alola. That's far more than the cells it had when confronting Xerneas and Yveltal. Then that must mean soon something is going to happen that can't be stopped without 100% of Zygarde's power. And hey, that's a big selling point right there. Sun screams out in terror for Moon as his Pokemon do their best to fight off the Ultra Beasts. Moon calls out for Sun, saying, courier, I knew it. We've got to stop Miss Lusamine. But how? We don't even know anything about Nihilego. Rotom says, ooh, I'm mad that I can't help. Moon then turns to Zosie, saying, Soliera, Zosie, do you know anything about Nihilego? Zosie says, I heard that another person Nihilego fed on went on a rampage, but Moon says, what happened to them? Zosie says, I'm pretty sure that after the Nihilego let go of them, they went back to normal. Moon says, so we have no choice but to force them apart. Soliera says, why not try capturing the Nihilego? Moon says, I consider it, but what is the exact nature of their physical bond? Could we safely split them apart? We can't do anything without that knowledge. Soliera then says, are you going to prioritize Lusamine's safety and leave the courier in danger? See, Soliera, you are the devil on the shoulder, I swear to God. Like, Moon is similar to her, but she is just, it's like all the bad aspects of Moon that could be possibly there. Oh, Moon brings out her bow and arrow, an arrow with an Ultra Beast ball on the end. She aims it at Lusamine, ready to fire, but she puts down her bow, saying, I can't do that. And of course, like, no, of course you can't. Without the information, she's like, no, I don't want to hurt someone in the process of trying to save them. Like, again, it's that understanding that, yes, Lusamine is doing terrible things, but unlike a lot of the other villains, including Lysander, who kind of just got what he deserved, and I mean, if you've seen ZA, you know what happened to him after the fact. But it's one of those things where it's just like, with Lusamine, it's like, look, she is really going through something, and like, we don't want to just outright just hurt the person who is going through a mental breakdown. Alright, and our last chapter of the day is chapter 31, Ray of Light, Through the Crack in the Sky. We pick up on Executor Island, where the captains are all training. Lily is watching, thinking to herself, she thinks of Guzma's words saying, it was like she and the Ultra Beast melted and blended with each other. Would it even be possible to go back to being human after that point? Shouldn't we hurry up and save her? Lily thinks to herself, Mother, what should I do? She then notices Mina drawing. She says, Miss Mina? Aren't you supposed to be training? Well, we have Nanu looking around saying, hey, where's that artist girl? And Sophocles and Acerola are like looking around too, like, huh? Mina says, oh yeah, looking at you, I felt like I'd remember. I thought I'd remember something if I drew you. We have a very detailed sketch of Lily. Suddenly Mina gets up saying, oh, I know, the girl from the pendant. Lily says, what are you talking about? Mina says, I'm pretty sure it happened after I got my invitation from Lana. I met this strange man. Lily says, a man? Yeah. Mina says, yeah, I think he had amnesia. He couldn't remember his own name or where he lived. He was holding on to a pendant with a photo inside of it. Yeah, that photo was of people really important to him. He was sobbing about he wanted to see them again. I felt bad for him, so I borrowed the pendant after agreeing to search for those people. I'd totally forgotten. This is you, isn't it? Oof. I don't know why this story breaks my heart like this. It hurts. It hurts in a way that I don't understand. Because it's just like, look, like, this is what I'm saying. At one point, Lusamine was just a good mother. She cared about her children. They were happy. Like, it can really show that the loss of someone can really just hurt a family. And yes, again, it's up to the parent to stay strong for their children. Like, that is definitely true. But I can't blame somebody for just really hurting after losing someone they cared about. It's like, I can't be mad at her for caring so much about someone that you just kind of lose it. But at the same time, you should also get to a point where you realize how it's affecting your children. It's like, I understand. I don't forgive, but I understand. Lily says, Miss Mina, where did you meet this person? And Mina says, it was, Sorry, I can't remember for the life of me. Too many paint fumes. Lily says, Miss Mina, could I borrow that pendant from you? Mina hands it over, saying, I guess. Do you have any idea of who that was? Lily says, yes. With this, it just might work. I could save my mother. I gotta like this. It takes away from a lot of the more important aspects of Lily's journey, though, which is kind of the sad part, because, like, there's a really great journey for Lily in the game that we really didn't get to completely explore, which is kind of a bummer, but at the same time, I don't completely hate this. We cut back over to the Ultra Megapolis, where you just see all the chaos and pandemonium. Like, my god, as Moon, Zosie, and Celeria just watch Lusamine and the Nidal. I'm still not remembering how to say their names. The Crowsma and the Ultra Beast and Sun. Celeria asks Moon, why won't you shoot? If you capture the Nihilego, Lusamine will be forced to separate from it. He'll be able to save the courier and the blinding one. Moon says, I told you, didn't I? If I did that, I couldn't guarantee Miss Luzmine's safety. I don't want to put a living being's life at risk without knowing what will happen. Not again. Soliera says, I see. So you're afraid of failure. Moon says, of course I am. Soliera says, you engage in science, yet you're afraid of failure? You haven't even made an attempt. How are you sure you're not just trying to avoid ruining your success streak? And I swear to God, at some point, I wouldn't be shocked if Moon just went over there and just backhanded her like, you need to shut up. But Soliera continues on saying, you may put Lusamine in danger if you capture Nihilego, but is leaving her the way she is now any safer? Zosie then shouts, oh, Soliera, the blinding one, it's... As we see Necrozma taking off into the sky, Lusamine recalls her Pokemon saying, return, my children, unite and bring Necrozma back to Mother. Sun relaxes a bit, saying, yikes. Moon says, I'm sorry I couldn't help, Courier. Sun says, nah, don't sweat it. I heard you've been beating yourself up over what you did to a lady's Piplup back home in Sinnoh. I also heard she's the reason why you learned how to use a bow and arrow. A Piplup and a bow and arrow? Yeah, no, that doesn't ring any bells. A lady. But, for someone who doesn't want to do stuff you can't guarantee is safe, you sure do a lot. Moon says, I do not. Sun says, seriously, you do. Moon says, I absolutely do not. That's enough. Sun says, I'm right. When I got sucked into this world, you're the one who chased after me on Lunala. And you did that not knowing whether or not it was safe here. Moon says, that's because. Sun says, because. Moon says, because. Zosie says, geez, now isn't the time for this. And Moon blushes. Soliera says, Lusamine could capture the blinding one, or everything could get much worse. Sun and Moon say, worse? Fico says, what she means is that the blinding one may steal the light from the world you two live in. They say, Captain Fico. Fico says, get on. Let's go to the top of the tower. Soliera and all that cake heads into the tower saying, Zosie and I will follow you in the elevator. As Sun and Moon jump on the back of Fico's Neganadal, he tells them, Soliera hasn't trusted the Aether Foundation or Miss Luzmine since the very beginning. I should have listened to her warning. Moon says, you mean the recon squad wasn't in total agreement? Fico says, indeed. Duuz focused on researching the Ultra Beasts, so he wanted to work on becoming able to capture and control them. Zosie was captivated by the idea of communicating with Ultra Beasts, so she admired trainers. Sun questioned, so what about you? Fico says, me? Apparently an ancestor of mine was the one who had hurt the blinding one. Moon says, so you quickly trusted the Aether Foundation because you wanted to get away from that ancestral pressure? Fico cringes. It says, Soliera said the exact same thing to me before. Sun says, seriously? And I think Moon says, shh, don't say that. Fico says, that aside, since the blinding one was fiercely attacked by Miss Luzmine, it's seeking the additional power required in order to return to a safer form. There's no doubt that it will open an exit to Alola and try to steal all of the region's light. We then cut over to Aether Paradise, Luzmine's residence, where we see Faba lying down, just tossing and a-turning, with visions of Luzmine saying, thank you, Faba. It's all thanks to you, Faba. The Aether Foundation wouldn't be here today without you. No. Wait, did he Luzmine says he's doubting the way we run the Foundation. He thinks we'll become a group that only advocated for Pokemon's freedom to benefit ourselves. And we see Luzmine's husband peeking into a hole in Ultra Space, I think, and Faba just going up and shoving him in. Faba, I swear to God, you piece of crap! Is this real? Is she a mourning Luzmine saying, dear, why did you abandon us? Did you really come to hate the Aether Foundation that much? Did you really come to hate me that much? Faba hands Luzmine a handkerchief, and she says, you'll support me? And with this almost look of disgust, Luzmine says, thank you, Faba. You don't need to worry about me. Faba awakens as a employee runs in saying, Mr. Faba, Acting President Faba. But Faba tells him, I told you. I thought I told you that my title doesn't matter. Have the captains come from Executor Island to attack? The employee says, no. You see, another wave of energy like the one at the Pony Altar has been observed above Mount Lanakila on Ula Ula Island. Father says, I see. The employee says President Lusamine may have captured the blinding one, and she may be returning after her disappearance into an ultra wormhole with the Ultra Recon Squad. Father says, if that's so, then we must prepare to welcome her back. Plumeria, I'll be needing your assistance. Plumeria says, what do you want me to do? Father says, you're going to gather poison and control it. Plumeria. We then cut over to Ula Ula Island at the Aether House, where Lily has handed over the pendant to Gladian, who says, Dad is somewhere in Alola? Lily explains, and he's developed amnesia. Oh, Gladian says, and he's developed amnesia? Lily says, yes. He didn't abandon us. Even if finding him and bringing him with us is impossible right now. As long as we tell her that he's in the region in that state. Gladian says, do you really think Mom will return to normal? Lily says, we'll make sure she does. Gladian gives a solemn smile, saying, you were right. Lying on others may not be as embarrassing as I'd thought. It's a little frustrating, but I have to admit that you've gone down a much better path. Lily blushes, saying, me? Down a better path? The Gladian, the nicest expression he's had in a while, says, Lily, you can go see her while being who you want to be. You can show her that you're your own person now. Lily says, brother. Gladian hands over the pendant, saying, so, is it certain that Mom will be returning to Mount Lanakila? Lily says, apparently Miss Wick's remaining cooperative employees at Aether Paradise reported it so. They said that a crack is already open from the other side. That might be because of Sun and Moon. Gladian says, that would be nice. Lily says, yeah. His edgelordiness is fading away. And outside of the Aether House, Lily says, thank you for waiting, Miss Cena, Mr. Dexio, and Professor Sampson. And they all view Lily in her new sporty look, saying, let's go to Mount Lanakila. And overhead, over the mountain, or is this back on the Ultra Megapolis? Oh, a portal forms in the sky. Yeah, it's the Ultra Megapolis. As they get close to the top of the tower, Sun says, that light, is it from Alola? Could we go back to Alola through there? Moon says, but that'd mean we'd let Necrozma in. Oh, suddenly there's a rumbling in Sun's backpack. As he notices, he shouts as all of the Zygarde cells come bursting out of his bag, flooding in through the portal. Sun says Zygarde is headed toward Alola. The cells race in and towards a specific location. Meanwhile, we see at the top of the tower, Necrozma is facing off with Lusamine and all of the Ultra Beasts. Or are all of her Ultra Beasts down? Are they all beaten down? Lusamine cries out, why? Why won't you listen to your mother? Why do you do nothing but cause trouble? Why do you do nothing but make me sad? Why are you abandoning me? Lady. Oh, boy. And as she's hit by an attack from Necrozma, she screams out. Jeez. So she says, this is bad. If they get hit again, she and Nihilego will. Sun calls out, Miss, give me a Pokeball. I'll catch the Nihilego. But instead, Moon readies her bow and arrow. She calls out to Dartrix, distract Necrozma. While Sun says, all right, Dollar, go help Dartrix. The two Pokemon jump in front of Necrozma as Moon lines up her shot, gets ready to fire, only for a blinding light to just burst in from the other side of the portal. And she fires her shot. Don't know where she hit. Moon says, oh no, did I make the shot? Sun says, I don't know, I can't see anything. As Soliera shields Zoshi, they say, my eyes. And even with the goggles on, the goggles, they do nothing. And the light just grows brighter and brighter. We then cut over to the Mount Lanakila summit. Yes, as up from the depths, 30 stories high, prehistoric, it spans in the sky. It's Zygarde, dun dun dun. It's Zygarde, dun dun dun. It's Zygarde. Love Zygarde. Like, this thing was my ace in the hole. Just the power this thing could unleash. Just, the dragon typing, like, my god. Like, Zygarde was my dude. Although the ground typing, The ground typing didn't always work out to my best interest a lot of the time. Oh, but man, just Zygarde coming in like a hoss in front of Lily and Cena and Dexio and Oak. Samson saying, what is this monster? Is it a new Ultra Beast? Dexio says no. Earlier, many Zygarde cells came falling out of that crack, and immediately after, the Aether Base's reassembly unit was activated. Samson says, what? Then are those the cells that Sun gathered? Dexio says, I believe so. After voluntarily being assembled, Zygarde is in its complete form. As the portal glows even more so, a voice comes screaming out from the other side. Lily looks up saying, huh? As Sun comes plummeting out of ultra space. Well, I mean, hey, that's one way to get back home. All right, well, one more volume to get through, and that's the end. I will say again, despite the rushed nature of things, I do kind of like how this story is playing out. Like, they're focusing on a lot of things that I'm glad they're focusing on. There are a few things that I wish they could focus on a little bit more, because I thought we'd see at least how training with the captains, and we don't even kind of get that, and I'm just kind of like, well, that's kind of a bummer. Like, that's just kind of a bummer, but it's like, what can you really do? It's funny though. But the stuff with Lusamine, it's just really impactful to me, and it always kind of has been. It just hits in a whole nother way that always takes me off guard, because just the story of this woman and her spiraling out of control, it elicited such a degree of sympathy from me, and that was always the thing. She was the first organization leader who just kind of fell off the deep end because she got dealt a bad hand and she just didn't know how to control. And that's the most real and sympathetic situation I can really say. And I even found myself just hoping that she could make a recovery, be a mother to her kids again, acknowledge her mistakes and make up for it. It's like, it's not about just not being that person anymore. You know, you gotta acknowledge the wrong that you did so that you don't make those mistakes again, and can even teach others who are going through a bad situation too. Turn your bad times into a teaching moment for others to help them get through their bad moments. And maybe they could just, or at the very least, relate to someone else so that they don't make those mistakes again. You know, making bad choices is never the end of the line. Very rarely is it ever. It's about doing better, being better, and going forward, especially for the people around you who love you and care for you. Because that can be very easy to lose over time. That mindset of the people around you that you care so much about. I don't know how much of that dream Fable was having was true. If he really was behind Mahone, you know, Lusamine's husband going missing, and that, oh man, I didn't like Fable before, but man, what a piece of crap. But even if that's not the case, it's obvious that Faba just looks to capitalize on that at every possible turn. And whether he is the kind of scumbag who got rid of him or not, he's still a scumbag. Lusamine is still someone who is hurting, who just needs help. She needs to be taken down, but she needs help. And I love the moon's precaution to Lusamine's situation. It's like, there's obviously something going on here, and I don't know what separating them will do. But I guess to a certain degree, Soliera is right. Leaving them in that state can only do more harm than good. So, but I do find myself just really empathizing with Lusamine's situation in the long run. Lily's story didn't really get the justice it deserved, but the original game really did such a good job of portraying Lily's story. I'll kind of just take that, because like, yeah, it is what it is. And even here, it's not portrayed terribly. It's just not as good. But the story is still going. It just, Hal really just did not get dealt a good hand when it came to this adaptation. Which goes to show that even in Japan, they were just like, Tech is kind of really not got enough going on. Honestly, Gladian feels like more of a rival than Al. Even Lily feels like more of a rival. But that's enough Hal bashing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din and hope to see you later. So then, take care. Bye-bye.